Welcome to Two Drugged Girls.
The podcast where two girls,
No, women,
on the verge of a nervous breakdown,
sit around and shoot the shit.
then shoot the science in 45 minutes or less.
But probably more.
I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jessica.
and we'll be talking all things millennial, sex, relationships, and pop culture.
But also the latest science studies and trends, being young women in STEM.
And of course, being on prescription drugs.
We're a podcast for women, by women.
But men can come too. Hi. I can't get it together. Okay, welcome back. This is Two Drugged Girls podcast. I'm Rachel,
I'm Jessica.
and this is episode 5, dating.
Yeah, we couldn't come up with anything better than that title.
It's just self-explanatory. You know, we're going to talk about dating because you're dating, Jess.
Well, am I though? I should be.
Fair. And I'm not dating because I'm with someone.
A committed monogamous relationship.
One of those. But I did date before I met him. And I did kind of date him. I dated him briefly.
Edit. I just put chili pepper juice in my eye. Because I wash my hands after I chop and not after I sprinkled.
We're not editing that out. I cooked Jessica a nice, lovely dinner. And she put some chili peppers on top because I was like, I'm not fucking with that.
Like fresh.
Oh, she's crying.
My eyes. Oh, it's on fire. Oh boy. All right, I'm just gonna cry through this episode, guys. This will be fun. If you hear me sniffling, it's
just the
it's fine.
chilies.
It's just the chilies.
It's not our single status.
I don't think I'm gonna open my eye. I'm just gonna keep it closed.
No.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna talk about a couple things. We're gonna start out with talking about online dating and apps because they're everywhere. Everybody dates online. I'm about online dating. I think it's great. It's another way of meeting people, and I think my thing is like I really turned my opinion around when I moved in with my roommate in university because she was the most social girl I'd ever met. She was always talking to people, always going out on dates, and she was also online. And I stupidly was like, why are you online? Like, those are for people who can't talk to real people in real life. But she was like, no, it's just another way for me to meet someone. Like, sure, I'll meet someone at a bar. I'll meet someone, I don't know, at a grocery store, in class, and I also meet people online.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I am of mixed opinions.
Okay.
I can see the benefits, but through my own experience, it felt wrong to me. It was like I was flipping through a catalog, which essentially you are. I'm just, yeah. Sorry, edit this. Is it too loud?
A little bit.
Okay. Oh.
Are you okay? Do you want to pause?
No.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm gonna mascara everywhere.
Oh no. It's fine. Alright, edit back in. Okay. Yeah, but you know what? I just think, especially in today's day and age, online is where people are. People are busy. They're traveling. They have a million things going on. And so if you're online dating honestly and you're not, juggling people around and jerking people around, then I think it's a great way to meet people.
So here's the key word. You said honestly.
Yeah, and people don't do
And people don't do that at all. And it's so easy to hide behind a screen and put forward this whole facade. And when you're not meeting face to face, you can't get a real feel for the person, like a real serious vibe.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for instinct when you're face to face with someone and it either feels right or it doesn't.
True.
And you just don't get that with online dating.
It's a gamble. I mean, that's true. But the thing is like, how likely, Jess, are you to go up to a guy in a bar, not a club, but a bar, and ask for a number?
So for my own personality, I'm pretty unlikely. Although, I will interject here, because the other day, little story, I was getting some lunch at Thai Express.
Okay.
And a couple firefighters walked in.
Yeah.
And
that's your thing.
Oh, I have a thing for men in uniform.
Yeah.
Had I had a pen, I would have written down my number.
Didn't you have your phone?
No. Here's the thing. I was too shy to actually talk to him.
Okay.
So I would have just written down my number and my name.
Yeah.
And said,
and slipped it.
If you're single, call me.
Ah, okay.
And slipped it to him as I was leaving because I don't have the fucking balls to go up to him and be like, hey, are you single? My name's Jess. Nice to meet you.
Because, I mean, especially when you're looking at adults, most men are married or like...
Especially at this age. Like, what's the first thing I do when I see a cute guy now? I look for a wedding ring. I'm 27. Like, it's so frustrating when they have them.
Damn it.
I know. I will not be a homewrecker.
No. Amen. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to hit you up with some dating apps.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if you've ever used them, if you've ever known anybody who's used them, if you've never used them.
Okay.
And we'll go through it. Because I found love pre-Tinder, so I never used them. So speaking of Tinder, have you used Tinder?
I have used Tinder.
Okay. So a little ditty about Tinder, in case you don't know, which everybody knows.
You're living under a rock if you don't.
It was essentially a follow-up to Grindr, which we'll talk about. But it's this idea of swipe and scroll. So you swipe one way if you like someone, swipe the other way if you don't, and anybody who matches essentially gets to talk to each other.
Right.
So it says here that it allows people to make shallow, this is, pretty judgy, a shallow snap judgments about potential partners. I mean, come on, it's based on how many photos? Like 3? Or 5?
I think you could probably put 5. And, like, a teeny tiny blurb about yourself.
Yeah.
And, like, when I first heard about Tinder, it was, like, a hookup app.
Yeah. Solely.
Like, you didn't hear about people meeting each other and, like, having lasting relationships. It was literally, I'm in a different city, I'm horny, let's fuck.
Well, see, and I can understand how that would be successful, because for people who travel, flight attendants, or even if just your job is for you to travel... it's great if you're in another city, you don't know anybody, but you just want
to hook up. For sure. Yeah.
But it's so, everybody has Tinder now.
I know. Everybody.
And you always hear someone's like, my friend or a friend of a friend met her boyfriend on Tinder and it worked out, so it could work out here. And that's the problem, is when you have, half the people who are using it thinking that it's a place to start a long-term relationship, and then the other half just using it for what it was intended, which was just a hookup.
There's a mismatch.
Exactly. And then people get their feelings hurt. Yeah. I have a friend who just got out of a 3-year relationship. No, longer. I think they'd been together 3 years, but they had been really good friends for years and years before that. And... she's now on Tinder. Okay. And she's, like, thinking that every sort of encounter could turn into something. Yeah. But she's talking about it like, okay, I get it. It's unrealistic for me to think this way, but this is where my brain goes. Mm-hmm. So, she's like, whatever, it's super casual. I don't care. And then, the guy seems interested, and he is, he's cooking her dinners, taking her out, going for drinks. And it's going well, they sleep together, and then she never hears from him again.
Ghosted.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Here's the thing about ghosting. Which, for those who don't know and live under a rock, ghosting is where you are incommunicado. You stop responding to texts. You either block or delete that person so they can't get in touch with you. And not always, but sometimes. And
you just disappear.
Like
it never happened.
It's so rude.
So rude and inconsiderate. Yeah. Just be upfront. Honesty is the best policy. Just be like, hey, I'm not down for anything long term. I'm not feeling this anymore.
I've changed my mind. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're a great person.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
And if they take it badly, or if they start to come at you with words,
that's on them.
And you can then block them.
Yeah.
And get them out of your life. And you don't have to listen to the response if it's negative.
For sure. That's Tinder.
The next one I have is Plenty of Fish. And I have experience with this one.
Okay.
So I was on Plenty of Fish because that was the only real, like, dating website. So apps didn't exist. I didn't have a smartphone when I first met JP. So I was on Plenty of Fish, and that was also the, like, younger person website
Right.
at the time, because there was, like, Match.com, eHarmony.
And I believe POF is free, right?
It is free.
So other things like Match you can try for free, but there's certain things you have to actually pay for.
Yeah.
So that's the allure of POF.
Yeah, and I think OkCupid was available too, and that had a younger crowd, but the thing was OkCupid, there's much more of a commitment involved.
Right.
Because you have to fill out all of this information,
The
answer
questionnaire
questions.
is
It's
so
insane.
long.
Yeah. And I mean, hey, that could weed out a bunch of people who are just looking for something quick.
Right.
And not short term, and who aren't serious. But I, at the time, was just looking to go out on dates.
Right. You just wanted dating experience.
Yeah, exactly. Because I hadn't dated. I was just busy in school. I had moved out for the first time, so I wasn't really dating when I was in high school.
No.
Like I had a boyfriend, but briefly.
Yeah.
But I never really properly dated somebody that I didn't know, and I wasn't going to bring them back to my mother's house, for Christ's sake. So I was on Plenty of Fish. I liked it. It was really annoying to have the "ooh baby baby, you're so beautiful" inbox messages 10 times a day, because, I mean, you can tell that it's one of those copy pasted messages.
It doesn't work. You can stop doing it. It
Yeah.
just does not work.
It doesn't. And so that was annoying. And I mean, I enjoyed it other than that. Like, I was going on dates every weekend.
And you met a few, like...
I met a few cute guys, yeah. And I ended up meeting someone in person. Like, I met someone, he was in one of my classes, and then I, like, properly met him at a bar. And I was so into him. And so I ended up going on these Plenty of Fish dates so that I could, like, be a normal human when I went on these dates with this guy that I actually liked.
Hey, you were planning ahead.
I was, and because I just didn't know how to act, and I didn't know, I mean, I still didn't know how to act when I went on those dates with that guy that I liked, but I just wanted to get, like, the jitters out.
Right.
So I would go on a date, like, earlier with a random guy, and then would meet my guy, like, later on for drinks.
Okay.
To just sort of get the nerves out.
2-a-days.
Yeah.
Look at you, girl.
I know. But it felt great to put myself out there. Like, it wasn't even about those guys. They could have told me I was, like, horrible, disgusting, whatever, and I literally would not know, because I was just, like, enjoying myself being on these dates. And, like, enjoying knowing that I could put myself out there and that I wasn't afraid of rejection.
Right.
Because they obviously didn't go anywhere. I didn't have relationships with any of these guys. So I'm sure at multiple points it was either me saying, hey, this isn't going anywhere, good luck, or it was them saying it.
Yeah.
And so it was nice to be able to get used to that feeling of rejection and moving on.
And not crumbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. It's like, you're not the cup of tea for everybody.
There's no way.
Like, and it's not a reflection on you if somebody doesn't like you. I mean, sure, if someone has some, points of criticism to make, but they're not going to make it in their exit speech. If they do, they're an asshole.
And I'm sure that happens.
Oh, yeah, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so I really like Plenty of Fish. Were you on it?
I was never on it. I had friends who were on it, so I'd, like, scope out kind of who was on there, but I never personally put my profile up.
See, and it was nice, because it was, like, a Facebook profile. Like, there wasn't too much info, there wasn't too much commitment, and it was mostly just messaging.
Right.
Yeah. I liked it.
Okay.
We've already kind of touched on OkCupid. Match.com, would you ever do it now?
See, Match is where I really decided that I didn't like it. It felt too much like a catalog.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I was sitting at my best friend's dining room table with her, like, probably having a beer, and she was like, what? You got a notification from Match? Oh my god, let me do this. And she started scrolling through, and it was literally like flipping the pages of a catalog. It just didn't feel human. There was no connection.
Yeah.
And it just, I decided it wasn't for me. And ever since then, like, okay, I've had Bumble, I've had Tinder here and there, but I've never really taken it seriously.
So then is it the whole idea of dating apps then? Because I feel like most of them are like that.
They're all like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
What do you... Okay, I'm going to save this question for after we're done this segment. I hope I remember it.
Okay.
Okay, so speaking of Bumble.
Bumble, buzz.
Okay, so I'm just going to say that Bumble here is slightly different.
Okay.
Because I have a little ditty about it. It says that you create an account, okay? It says to meet new dates in your area, and with the app, the queen bee, any female, must make the first move after two people mutually connect and are part of each other's hive.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess the idea here is that women are able to make the decision of whether or not they will talk to a man.
Precisely.
Okay.
As a woman, you are forced to make the first move in terms of communication.
Right, which I suppose it would then, empower women and also weed out the ooh baby you look so beautiful.
Exactly.
Because it is overwhelming and you miss the gems.
Yeah.
Because you're so disenchanted with the ooh babies that you just if somebody comes up with something interesting or witty to say, you just think that they're all assholes.
Yeah, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah.
You're waiting for the ooh baby, you're so beautiful.
So you were on Bumble. Did you like that aspect?
I didn't mind Bumble.
Okay.
One thing I found when I was on both Tinder and Bumble, guys would, converse with me pretty well for let's say a day.
Okay.
And then they disappear. It was like they lost interest. They couldn't keep a conversation going.
But did they say that they were going to disappear, or they just disappeared?
No, they just stopped.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's something to be said for knowing how to keep a conversation going, and I'm sure, I need to practice that more too.
Yeah, but it's not just how to keep a conversation going, it's how to keep, text messaging going.
Yeah.
So if you're constantly just messaging someone hey, how's it going? How's your life? How can you even capture someone's attention in one day?
Yeah, no. That's
without telling them your whole life story.
Exactly. There has to be something interesting that makes me want to actually meet you.
Yeah.
And, hey, how's it going? And, what do you do for a living? Great for, starter.
Okay.
Don't keep doing stupid little small talk like that. No.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Okay, so the last one is Hinge. Have you ever tried Hinge?
I have not tried Hinge. I've heard of it.
Okay, so it says here that it was based on, what Tinder was doing, where they relaunched on iOS an experience that's intended to be less about games and more about relationships and interesting conversations. Okay, what does that mean?
So it's supposed to be less of a hookup and more of a I actually want a relationship?
Do you have to, right? Do you have to fill in more info? Okay, so it says you have a more detailed profile that you fill in with pictures and stories, and then users can choose to like and comment on something in that profile, a la Facebook, I guess, and it serves as a mutual conversation starter. Okay, so you provide a little bit more info on yourself. I guess that could be nice because you then skip the whole so tell me about yourself. Mm-hmm. What do you do? And then you have literally what they said, a conversation starter.
Right.
Okay, would you do that?
Now that you're telling me more about it, I'm kind of open to it.
Can I be on it?
Who knows? Maybe I'll go home and make a Hinge account.
Hey! And then you can tell us next week.
I know. I have to. This is the thing. I live out in the boonies, as I've said before. Mm-hmm. There's not very many people around.
Yeah.
So I need to come into the city more and check it then, and expand my range a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll be a little more labor intensive than I would like, but
you gotta put yourself out there.
I know. You always say that to me.
I do.
I despise it. Ugh.
It's true though.
It is true, and that's why I despise it so much.
Yeah.
Because I'm horrible at it.
I know. There's nothing better than being in bed. I get it. That's my happy place as well. But, yeah.
And how many times have I said this? That, I don't feel like I have anything interesting to bring to the table.
You do. You are I begged her to do this podcast with me.
She did.
Because I was like, you have so much to say. And I remember you being like, listen, I have nothing. I will say nothing. Look at you now. Girl. You're filling the airwaves. Look at those.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on.
Okay, so my last question to complete this is, what about, so you don't like the whole categorizing people, having it feel like a catalog, you're just flipping through. So what about dating apps would attract you? If a tech developer was like, I want to make one that really people will like, tell me what I need that others don't have.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
See, and this is where it's catch-22 because I don't enjoy meeting people. And yet I complain that with these apps, I'm not physically meeting people.
Yeah.
So
that's a problem.
Maybe if, like, and I don't know, this might be a totally stupid idea, but, like, putting, like, if you could send video messages.
Okay. Wasn't that Snapchat?
I mean, sure.
Yeah, but how do you meet? Yeah, okay, fair.
How do you meet? I mean, you could just be like, oh, who's in my area on the little map in Snapchat, but I don't know. That would probably, it might entice me a little bit more.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
Tech developers.
Put it up.
Partner with Snapchat. Okay. Next thing we're going to talk about. Dun dun dun. Men who can't handle rejection. Okay, so speaking of rejection, women and men, for some reason, handle these things very differently. I don't know why. I found this really interesting article from bull.com.
Okay.
I found a lot from there. It's like, you know, BuzzFeedy.
Okay.
But they had an article entitled, "If you have ever said no to a guy who can't handle rejection, you understand these 10 things."
Mm-hmm.
Number 1, you're fat.
Of course.
Even if you're not.
It's the go-to.
Why?
I think they know that it's such an insecurity for a lot of women.
Okay.
And it's just like, I know how to make it hurt.
That's so rude.
You're hurting me, so I'm gonna make you feel like shit.
Yeah, and they'll say it. It doesn't matter what size you are, what you look like, how they loved your body the night before.
Yeah.
No, you're fat.
Yeah. Awful.
Awful.
You know what? Your little belly from the beer is same thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
It jiggles too.
There you go.
Okay, you're a bitch no matter what.
Why? Like, why are these things, like, so derogatory?
Yeah.
And why? Why is it always female? You're just degrading women in general, always.
The minute that comes out of your mouth, I don't want you either.
Yeah.
Like, and it's always fat bitches.
And you know what? I am a proud bitch.
Yeah.
I can handle my own. Thank you.
Thank you for calling me a stuck-up fat bitch. I am one.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm choosing to be that way.
I'm self-aware. Yeah. Bye-bye. You don't want me anyway. Okay, so you're promiscuous because you said no.
I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
How does that even...
So it's like you say no or you say I'm not interested and they just call you a slut. It's like you're a slut for being on a dating app and for being out there.
Being choosy.
And then being choosy. I don't know. Why?
The logic just doesn't work for me.
No. Number 5 is no guy wants to date you anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
You did.
Right? That's why you're so damn butthurt that I don't want to date you.
Nope. Number 6, there's no truly polite way to say no.
No.
I don't know why that's here. Okay, well, it does reference By Felipe, which if you don't follow that Instagram account, you need to immediately. So, I don't know, I think it's 2 women, but it might be 1. Anyway, the account is run by at least 1 woman, and essentially people send in screenshots. Do you follow them?
No, I don't.
It's amazing. People send in screenshots, mostly women, obviously, because we have this problem, of men who were rejected and couldn't handle it, and so you submit it, and then By Felipe reposts it, and it's always like, you know, ooh, baby, you look so gorgeous, blah, 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 this fucking paragraph, and then the woman says, you know, no, thank you, I'm not interested, and then she's hit with 10 more paragraphs of how she's a dumb, fat bitch who's a slut who didn't want to date anyway.
I've seen similar accounts.
It's amazing.
Like Tinder in your 30s on Instagram.
Yeah.
Same sort of deal, usually. Kind of hilarious. And I think pretty relatable for most women who are dating. I think everyone who dates pretty much has an experience where the person they reject just can't handle it.
Don't be a garbage human and don't do this. Like, if somebody rejects you, first of all, if you're in an app and this is happening and someone's rejected you and you haven't even, like, met before, they're literally otherwise anonymous. Like,
right?
There's no repercussions, there's no fallout if the person doesn't want to talk to you anymore. you can just move on.
Would you rather have them lie to you and string you along?
And meet you and invest in, like,
and
their
get
time?
you to invest in them? And all of a sudden they're like, oh, by the way, tricked ya.
I don't know why we're giving this advice, because it's probably only going to be women listening. And they're like, you know, bitch, I know.
Oh, rants and bants, girl. Rants and bants.
Exactly. So I finally got into why they said there's no truly polite way to say no. And this is because it's our fault. Okay, that we can't say no to things because we feel bad.
Oh.
So it's putting the blame back on us.
Right.
Like, we should have said something earlier, but we didn't, so now it's on us.
Right.
Fuck you.
I can say no whenever the fuck I want.
Right. So the next one is that their masculinity ultimately is more important than your feelings. The ego is real.
It is. And it's human.
I'm not here for you. I'm not here to fulfill anything for your needs, or especially if we don't know each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not here to fill your ego.
Yeah. So check it.
Yeah. If your ego's bruised,
you got some work to do.
Yeah. Especially by a stranger.
A stranger. And that's the insecurities coming out.
Fucking fragile.
Yeah. Fragile as fuck.
Yeah. Okay. So that was just a little sampler.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Next topic we're going to talk about is a little sciencey, at the very least, is the reason why rejection hurts. So this was written in Psychology Today by Dr. Winch, and it's called 10 Surprising Facts About Rejection.
Okay.
So it says here that research finds that rejection affects intelligence, reason, and more.
Mm-hmm.
I understand reason.
Mm-hmm. I was just about to say.
Right? Okay, so number one here, they have rejection piggybacks on physical pain pathways in the brain.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yep. fMRI, so functional MRI, which follows brain activity. These studies show that the same areas of the brain become activated when we experience rejection as when we experience physical pain. That's why rejection hurts so much, neurologically speaking. In fact, our brains respond so similarly to rejection and physical pain that... Number two, Tylenol reduces the emotional pain rejection elicit.
No.
Yeah.
You just blew my mind.
It was just one study, but they took a look at using acetaminophen or Tylenol and having participants recall a painful rejection experience. So those who received Tylenol reported significantly less emotional pain than subjects who took a sugar pill.
Wow.
They assume, the psychologists who did this study assume that the reason for the strong link between rejection and physical pain is that, number three, rejection served a vital function in our evolutionary past.
Wow.
Interesting.
I'm still, like, mind blown over the Tylenol.
Yeah, but this can lead to potentially, I mean... Don't take a ton of acetaminophen if you have a heartache.
No.
That's not a good...
You're going to destroy your liver, especially if you're drinking to, you know...
Dull the pain.
Dull the pain.
Did I say no?
You said no.
The null hypothesis. Oh, God, my brain. Okay, so speaking to our evolutionary past, so it says in hunter-gatherer times, being ostracized from our tribes was akin to a death sentence.
Right.
Because we were unlikely to survive long alone. Makes sense. Evolutionary psychologists assume the brain developed an early warning system to alert us when we were at risk for ostracism.
Wow.
Because it was so important to get our attention, those who experienced rejection as more painful, i.e. because rejection mimicked physical pain in their brain, they gained an evolutionary advantage. They were more likely to correct their behavior and consequently more likely to remain in the tribe.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. And very interesting. But you would have to feel that pain before you were actually kicked out.
Yeah, and recognize it
early
on.
And
then make a decision early on so that you're not left behind.
Right.
Makes sense. But it also, it says here, explains why, number 4, we can relive and re-experience social pain more vividly than we can physical pain.
Yep, I believe that. It leaves a lasting imprint on your psyche.
Yeah. I mean, even things like an awful scene in like a TV show can get me going, or rewatching things.
Yep.
there's like almost sometimes the pain is visceral. Like anytime, I know this isn't a memory, but anytime I watch Secrets of the Yaya Sisterhood, I can't. That scene where she's taken too many pills and she's drinking straight vodka and she passes out and then wakes up and hits her kids outside.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Just destroys you.
It physically hurts.
And that's, so I think I said in previous podcasts, my father recently passed away, and it was unexpected, and it was some heart troubles. We expected him to have surgery and come home within a week or two, and it would all be okay. Obviously that didn't happen. And so now, like, I have been watching all of my doctor shows because I'm a fanatic. Good Doctor, Grey's Anatomy, all that kind of stuff. And anytime they have a heart patient, whether they're having a heart attack or they're in heart surgery, like, I feel it in my chest. Physical pain of seeing my dad like that. It's awful. And I've been told it'll stay with me probably for the rest of my life, which is crazy. So, yeah, no, it's a very real thing.
I've not felt pain on that level of losing a parent. I can't even imagine.
Fathom, yeah.
Yeah, I can't.
No.
So.
Sorry to get morbid, guys.
No, it's okay. It's real life.
This is my life.
Yeah. Okay, so it says here, number 5 is rejection destabilizes our need to belong, which makes sense if you're looking at that whole hunter-gatherer theory.
Right.
Of not wanting to be away from your tribe.
Yeah.
Number 6 is rejection creates surges of anger and aggression.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, so this is an interesting fact. So it says in 2001, the Surgeon General of the U.S. issued a report stating that rejection was a greater risk for adolescent violence than drugs, poverty, or gang membership. Wow. That's pretty telling, especially now in our climate where the United States is dealing with so many young adults and children who are shooting schools.
Yep.
It says here, countless studies have demonstrated that even mild rejection leads people to take out their aggression on innocent bystanders. School shootings, violence against women, and fired workers going postal are other examples of the strong link between rejection and aggression.
It's almost as if they just don't know how to deal with the pain.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to be angry about things than to actually face and work through.
And deal.
And cope. But it takes, it's hard work to face and deal and, get through things. But it's exhausting to be just angry all the time.
It is. Well, that's when it gets to a point where people snap.
Yeah.
Because they can't take it anymore.
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah. Fun fact, you know that song, Tell Me Why I Don't Like Mondays?
Yeah.
Do you know why that song exists?
Did someone die on a Monday?
So, a young lady, I can't remember her name, she is still alive, but she's in jail, back in, I think it's the late 70s.
Okay.
Or early 80s. Lived across the street from an elementary school and took her dad's rifle and shot at the kids at the school when they were on recess.
Oh my God.
And when news reporters called the house where she was living, before the police had come to arrest her, they called her and said, "Why would you do this? And like, tell us, why would you do this to them?" And she says, "I don't like Mondays." And because it was a Monday.
Oh my God.
No, now you know.
Jesus.
Yeah. So, number 7 here is that rejection sends us on a mission to seek and destroy our self-esteem. It says, we often respond to romantic rejections by finding fault in ourselves, bemoaning all our inadequacies, kicking ourselves when we're already down, and smacking our self-esteem into a pulp.
I am so guilty of this.
Yeah?
I am, when I'm rejected, it's always, why? What was it about me? And you know what? The world don't revolve around me, bitch.
Yeah. Well, it says here, most romantic rejections are a matter of poor fit and a lack of chemistry.
Exactly.
Incompatible lifestyles, wanting different things at different times, or other issues like mutual dynamics.
Yeah. It doesn't mean I'm less than, or I'm not good, or good enough. It just wasn't right.
Exactly. And it's not a reflection of you.
Not
it's
at all.
It's just that you're not their cup of tea.
Yeah. And I have to constantly remind myself of that all the time.
So it says, blaming ourselves and attacking our self-worth only deepens the emotional pain we feel and makes it harder for us to recover emotionally. I want to know the part, though, where they say that, okay, yeah, we feel this way about ourselves, but then we choose to express that or get it out on someone else.
Yeah. The projection.
The projection. Exactly. So it conveniently leaves that out. It says, number 8 is rejection temporarily lowers our IQ.
I'm
Probably
intrigued by
emotional
this.
intelligence.
I was going to say, for sure, an emotional intelligence.
So it says here, being asked to recall a recent rejection experience and relive the experience was enough to cause people to score significantly lower on subsequent IQ tests of short-term memory, and tests of decision-making.
I mean, if you're not feeling your best.
Well, that's what, yeah, it says here, when you're reeling from a painful rejection, thinking clearly is just not that easy. That's
right.
True. When I'm emotional, I can't think properly.
No, you're irrational.
Yeah.
Because you're going on emotion. You're not going on cognitive, reality.
Yeah, and making a decision, forget it. So it explains why rejection, number 9, rejection does not respond to reason.
No, not at all.
True.
It's too emotional.
Okay, so this is real grim. Number 10, though, is a little bit more uplifting. It says that there are ways to treat the psychological wounds rejection inflicts.
Okay.
So it says it's possible to treat the emotional pain rejection elicits and to prevent the psychological, emotional, cognitive, and relationship fallouts that occur in its aftermath. To do so effectively, we must address each of our psychological wounds, i.e. soothe our emotional pain, reduce our anger and aggression, protect our self-esteem, and stabilize our need to belong.
That's really hard to do.
I was just going to say, easier said than done.
That's a decade of therapy at least.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from someone who goes to therapy, I'm telling you, you are putting in work.
Yeah. I think especially in the moment, it's really hard to do. So to tell someone that they need to recognize the signs before anything bad happens.
Yeah.
Come up, reason and come up with a solution in a matter of seconds as you're being rejected.
No. It takes practice.
It takes practice.
Yeah. And that means repeated rejections.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I know. It hurts until it doesn't.
Until you find the good one, right?
Exactly. Okay. So our last thing that we're going to talk about in today's show is this Huffington Post article.
Okay. HuffPo.
Yeah. I had an issue with it.
Do you need a tissue for that issue?
So it's in their blog section. I apologize to the writer because it doesn't have the name. I'll insert it in some sort of description form if I do find a name. But the title is, I'm dating a woman for the first time. Here's what's different.
Huh.
And I briefly skimmed over it, and I want to know your thoughts.
Okay.
So she talks about how she's probably bisexual. I was going to say bilingual.
Oh, God, you live in Canada when?
Know. So she's probably bisexual, and she had never dated a woman before her girlfriend.
Okay.
And that she'd only dated men.
Right.
And so she really noted that there were a lot of differences between dating a man and dating a woman. And she says that most of those differences make her feel really grateful that she's now with a woman.
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So, number 1, she says, no feeling awkward about who pays.
Okay, why does that even have to be a thing,
That's the thing. It's just semantics. It doesn't matter.
No.
I mean, when we're out, here's the thing. My partner currently has a full-time job. I'm a student. I work 2 jobs, but I don't make any money because everything goes to tuition. He makes money, he pays.
Right.
But when we have, when we both have careers, I don't think it'll matter. But you know what people have actually noted?
What?
In other podcasts that I listen to, is a lot of women talk about how when they're at a restaurant with their husband on a date, the server will put the checkbook
in front of the man. Yeah.
And assume that he's going to pay.
It's such an old-timey
tradition.
Modern world.
Yeah.
Okay? Equality. Gender equality.
Equalization of the sexes. Yeah. Okay. You get to opt out of gender normative nonsense.
You can opt out of that in a heteronormative setting.
You're saying all of the things that I said when I read this. Okay, so she says if you've ever had to congratulate a guy for not being a misogynistic asshole, you'll know what I'm talking about. I was sick of praising someone for being a feminist or it feeling like a deliberate choice when my needs were valued as much as they were. In a hetero relationship, you're always encountering gender norms, whether adhering to or ignoring them. Here's the thing. I talked about this in our feminist episode.
Yeah.
I didn't become a feminist until I met JP because he strongly identified as one.
Yeah.
And I think he made me a better person in that sense because he made me realize that it's not about, being angry and wanting more for women. It's about equalization of the sexes. It's about girl power in that sense. And yeah, because you know what? Currently in our climate, we aren't equal.
No. No, not
Plain and
even
simple.
today.
No. So you can sidestep gender norms. You don't have to follow them. Sure.
Don't feed into it.
Yeah, you know that they exist, but I don't know, maybe have a conversation about how ridiculous they are.
Oh my god, the thought.
Yeah.
Having a conversation.
She said number 3 is so many periods, which, thank God, we don't have to deal with.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
eventually you sync up, so...
Exactly. And you know what? Also, we did talk about it in our feminist episode, but one word. No, 2 words. Diva cup.
Or menstrual cup. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I shouldn't say. Actually, edit that out. I don't want to get sued.
I think they'll be okay with it, because you're promoting them, not saying...
That's true.
Burn them all.
Okay. Number 4 she had were the potential for body image issues.
Intriguing.
So she says that she was way more self-conscious when she was dating...
a dude?
Actually, when she was dating women
Okay.
than when she was dating men. She's like, even though I think of men as being more judgmental, feeling like there's more of a direct comparison between you and your partner was tough at first.
Right.
I guess if you have similar physicalities,
Yeah.
maybe.
But
I've never... Here's the thing. I've never... measured my body up to my partner's.
No.
And I'm dating a man. I mean, I did... When Jess first got here, I did complain about how JP was so upset because he weighed a certain amount. That's like a fraction of what I weigh.
And he was wearing, like, a big bulky sweater, a jacket,
but
shoes, like, you name it, he was wearing it.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't feel like I don't feel like I can't, like, get naked in front of him or anything like that because of my body.
I'm really intrigued. I don't know what I would do if I would compare myself more to my female partner than a male.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't think you could know that until you're actually with a woman.
True. And know what it's like.
Exactly.
Okay, so she says number 5, someone putting in the same mental labor you do.
Huh.
She says there's no micromanaging a man's feelings. There's no stress of being the only person who notices that you need to buy toilet paper or that you need to get a birthday gift. Oh, fuck. That's true.
Please, divulge.
Once. Just once. If I don't have to be manager of the house.
Yes. Yes.
But, I mean, I don't think that's even though I complain that I think it's like all men.
I think it's more a personality thing than anything.
It's just a personality thing, exactly. You could get a woman who's really allergic to cleaning too.
Yeah.
You know? And you still have those same issues.
I look at my dad and he was for sure the manager of the house.
Yeah.
Like, everything. He bought our tampons till the day he died. I'm 27 and he'd still be like, I'm going to Shoppers Drug Mart. You need some tampons? I'm like, yes, please. Like, honest to God.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's a personality thing. I think, part of me does wish that I was with a woman for that aspect, but that's just because I'm fucking tired. JP, buy more toilet paper.
yeah. Love you, JP.
Okay. Number 6, street harassment. So
Oof.
she says this sucks because there are 2 women. That is true. That must be true.
The stereotypical, like, oh, every guy's biggest dream is to be with 2 lesbians.
Yeah, I'm not a lesbian for you.
No, not at all. Like, It has nothing to do with you, buddy. Just say.
Okay, number 7. This one made me angry. More orgasms.
Okay, I kind of think I know where you're going to get the whole this made me angry from.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just go with it? Just go with that.
Okay, so she says that lesbians have more orgasms than anyone else. And that is true in terms of it has been studied. I don't doubt it.
No.
And here's the other thing, is I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to have sex.
No.
I think there's a right way for you to have sex
Right.
and the wrong way for you to have sex, but that's totally individual to the person,
Right.
to the couple, to the experience, whatever. And I think for me, no orgasms is not okay.
Okay. Totally fine.
I don't enjoy that sexual experience. I think that there's so much value in foreplay, and it doesn't just have to be before sex. I think, I mean, here's the thing. It's like, how do we define sex? When people define sex as that sort of primary act of a penis goes in a vagina and a man comes, and I mean, that doesn't come from nowhere. That comes from media.
Yeah.
Because they show a little bit of foreplay, a little bit of touching, and then the man gets on top, pumps a few times, and explodes.
I'm shocked if they even show any foreplay, frankly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, there's no way she is ready. There's no way that feels good for her right now.
Exactly. It's completely for the man.
Yeah.
And so that's not how sex has to play out in real life. If that's what you enjoy, go for it. You do you, boo-boo.
Yeah.
But for me, that's not okay.
That's not going to fly.
It's not going to fly. And so, there's... Mom, don't listen. There's foreplay before sex, during sex, after sex. There's, coming in one position, then switching positions and coming in another position.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. I have more orgasms than he does.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
Like,
you are living the dream.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
But it wasn't always like that, let me just say.
It's a learning experience.
Exactly. It takes a lot of learning, a lot of communicating with your partner about what you like. And ladies, do not, and men too, but do not ever feel like you're afraid to tell your partner or whoever you're having sex with what you like.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah.
Because they're not mind readers.
No.
And like...
And someone's not bad in bed if they can't get you off. And
if you're not helping them.
If you haven't told them what gets you off. Because newsflash, everyone's different.
Yep.
And what works for someone or a previous partner, because that's the experience that they're drawing from, might not work for you.
Exactly.
So,
oh my God. Now, we have to take into account here that there are women who just physically don't achieve orgasm.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's true.
That's not to discount that. But you're living the dream. That's all I have to say. Multiples.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And
and don't be afraid to use toys.
No. Seriously.
They enhance.
We got suggestions. That'll be another episode, though. Okay, number 8. You don't need to feel like you're being over emotional for expressing basic emotions.
Oh.
She does the whole not all men.
Not all men.
So at least she does that.
Hopefully you find a guy who just sees it as who you are, and there's nothing wrong with being emotional as long as you recognize it and you're not like living your life based off of emotion 24/7.
And with the emotional, be rational.
Yeah.
So explain why you're emotional.
Yeah.
And if you can't explain that, then you probably need a little bit of alone time to figure out why.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing, and it's what everybody says, but communication is key in a relationship. So if you can't express why you're feeling X emotion, or X and Y and Z and double A
to the nth power
emotion, then that's a problem, and it probably won't help your relationship. And that's not a boy thing, it's not a girl thing, it's just a
human thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's hard. It can be hard to have those conversations, but they are worth it in the end.
Yeah. And she mentions, that her and her girlfriend deal with issues in the moment. I think that's a great piece of advice for anybody in a relationship. Not even romantic relationships, friendships too. Deal with stuff in the moment. And if a person is the person that you're, having that argument with or whatever with, if they are the type of person who can't have the conversation right away, give them that space.
Yeah.
but define the parameters of what that space will look like pre-argument.
Yeah.
You know, when you get together and you're figuring each other out, it's like, talk about like, okay, I need a 5-minute breather. Because you want to make sure that you're both respecting those time limits.
Yeah.
You're respecting the person who needs the space, and they're respecting you because you want to talk about it right away.
Yeah.
So they're getting the space, but it's not so long that the argument just
drags on or fizzles and it becomes a recurring theme.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, I'm one of those. I need time to process.
I want to talk about it right away. No, we can.
What's JP like?
He needs time.
Oh, my boy. Love you.
Yeah. So number 9 is feeling like a genuine partner.
That's sad. That is sad.
She's like, her girlfriend's amazing, and in her experience, dating a woman has meant feeling like it's a genuine equal partnership. They both come at things from the same place. Nobody's career is more important. Nobody is the head of the relationship. No one's expected to do thankless tasks. All the future plans and wants and dreams matter equally.
I mean, that's great that she's experiencing that. But, again, you can have that with a man. You can. Yep. It's just finding the right fit.
And that's okay if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of, those things you really find out a little bit more
once
into
you're
the
established.
Relationship. Exactly. And it can hurt because if you really like someone and you want to keep spending time with them, but you find out that, you know, they want to go travel for a year, or they want to, you know, whatever, their life plans don't match up with yours.
That's tough.
That can absolutely hurt.
Yeah.
But those conversations need to happen so that you can move together.
Yeah. There's also something to be said for compromise. Mm-hmm. Like, there is give and take within a relationship. It's never, ever going to be 100% 50-50.
Absolutely.
It's just not going to happen.
All right.
Is that...
I think that's our show.
Damn.
We sound so soulful and full of great
mildly
advice. We're floundering. Okay. We ain't perfect.
Hey man, it's a learning curve for us. We've never done this.
No.
So I think we're doing a pretty good job so far.
Pat ourselves on the back.
Good job, Rach.
All right. Thanks for listening.
I guess we'll see you next week.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Two Drugged Girls podcast with Rachel and Jessica.
This podcast has been brought to you by no current sponsors, so connect with us at twodruggedgirlspodcast@gmail.com.
Subscribe to our podcast on SoundCloud and leave us a review.
Don't forget to catch our next episode.
Stay cool.
Bye.